It's all you, boss.
Welcome, everyone, to the infamous Rope Break Wrestling Podcast. My name is the infamous one, Shahid, and this is Alex. So
Also
there's
known as elderly and pissed.
yep, yeah, all that. Want to apologize for not being on the podcast for a while. Brother, be busy. I got 15 kids and a whole lot of bills, but wanted to bring up something that's really, really important, near and dear to my heart, which will be the issue with nepotism in wrestling. There was a point in time where if you were someone's son and you were famous, they would look forward to your career. They will look forward to seeing pictures of you training and wrestling if you were the son or daughter of a wrestler. And if you got an opportunity, it was no big deal. And like we had expected for your parents or whoever to look out for you. Now we have this podcast. We have this podcast when Undertaker is telling us all kinds of backstage stories, things that we never thought we would hear right from the mouth. And sitting next to him is someone who probably grew up watching The Undertaker, playing with his action figures, probably paying top dollar just to see him in person, gets an opportunity to have a wrestling podcast with this individual. Now, as we all know, Michelle McCool has to have her hands in everything, right? She has to be the one to kind of involve herself with a lot of things that people feel that she isn't earned or deserved. Mickey James being one of those issues, her being replaced by Michelle. Now, is it because of nepotism? I don't know. Now we have this issue here where this brother starts his podcast with Undertaker, someone who is his dream wrestler, a dream opportunity for any wrestling mark, is now being replaced by who? The Undertaker's wife, Michelle McCool. Now, back to nepotism. My brother Alex, when did this nepotism thing become such a backlash? When at one point in time when we were growing up, it was okay.
I believe it's a different story. I think with the WWE specifically, the nepotism became a normal thing, but it was only the McMahons, and all the McMahons except one were talented. They were talented speakers. They were talented performers. They were talented. You were engaged with them. You were not engaged with our current head of education. We were not engaged with Linda, but when it came to Stephanie, we were engaged with Stephanie. We were engaged with Shane. We were engaged with Vince, and then obviously we're engaged with Triple H. Kind of nepotism, but he was already a professional wrestler anyway. And it goes back to the Crockett's. They did the same thing. Heck, AEW's even done it when it came to Brandy. And I think Brandy was the real start when people were like, "Hey, stop putting just because they're married to you or they're related to you in an angle. We're tired of that because they're not all talented in that position." Not saying that Brandy doesn't have talent, but Brandy was chief brand officer of AEW. That didn't make sense in a lot of people's minds. When there's obviously other people in the business world that maybe they could have transferred from another world, just another world, not just a woman that was a ring announcer, whether she had the education or not, just kind of moved into the position. With Michelle McCool, I can definitely see why nobody likes the new Undertaker podcast. And it doesn't even have to do anything with nepotism. He could have brought in any other person that he really loves. He could have brought in The Godfather. He could have got Glenn Jacobs. I mean, it could have been anybody. But this side of just Michelle McCool taking over, LFG, that got the backlash that everybody wanted. Her going into the Hall of Fame, personally, for me, before Mickey James, before Melina, before women that I felt that gave more to the business, to the WWE, to the women's division as a whole than her, then to me that automatically meant Undertaker pulled some strings. Are they doing it to appease the Undertaker? And I think that's got a lot of backlash with people. And Michelle McCool's not a good talk. The vibe of the entire podcast is completely different. It isn't like two bros talking about, "Hey, this is what I did when I was younger, when I was on the road with all my friends, playing dominoes, eating turkey legs with mayo, with Big Yoko." All that stuff is completely different. It's just a totally different vibe, and I don't think anybody likes what she's bringing to the table.
I think it's beyond that. I think it has everything to do more so with nepotism. I feel that Undertaker was to replace him with the Godfather, and they kept it off of the WWE network. I think it would be more interesting because of the wrestling stars that you can now bring on. Not that they couldn't get them on the show, but man, now you have a whole dynamic of guys who actually been there, done that. I think that would be a stronger podcast and just have, a Mark sitting there. No disrespect to my brother, but at the same time, people aren't talking about, well, you just replaced the dude. No, like you brought up, the format, I do agree. The format is different. It's a whole lot different. Of course, it's different because now you got the wife involved. This the boys just sitting there, you can say whatever. But now you got your wife, you might be a little
Very
more
true.
PG, even if it wasn't on WWE Network, but now it's on WWE Network. So now you got hands involved, sponsorship. I wouldn't be surprised if Undertaker wears a snakeskin, Slim Jim pants the next episode.
Slim Jim, Real American Beer. He might not do the Real American Beer just because his personal feelings about Terry. Rest in peace, Hulk Hogan.
He shouldn't have
I,
injured him. He
we,
injured and took out Hulk
Golden
Hogan.
Goose, the Golden Goose.
Oh, my neck, brother. Oh, we all saw the fucking video, bro. We saw the video.
His
Trying to
head
take
was
out.
5 inches off the thing, and Hogan won the title back on Tuesday, so it didn't even matter. That was you lose on Thursday and win it on Tuesday. That was one of the shortest reigns in the World Wrestling Federation history. The first Undertaker's first title reign. But we're not even talking about that. I think WWE's corporate TKO. I'm not going to even say WWE. TKO is a corporate entity. The Undertaker's always wanted to be more WWE than he was last time. So him making the podcast into a corporate entity, him selling out, him letting his wife be in it because she's obviously on board for anything. It doesn't matter. They got kids to feed. I feel like it's just the way the Undertaker is. The Undertaker is more WWE than John Cena, Hulk Hogan, Randy Orton. Hell, he's more WWE than Vince. So if they say jump, Undertaker say, how high, guys? I don't need my knees. If they told him to come back into the ring and wrestle Braun Breaker and get speared through a barricade, he'd be like, I don't need my back. Michelle. And she'll get speared too. But only she'll get the pin, even after the spear. And Undertaker would just lay in the background.
But that's not the conversation. The conversation isn't him moving. If he was still on the podcast with, well, if he didn't have Michelle McCool and they kept it underground, that's one thing. But now it's just a wrestling show with just y'all two. Let's keep it a buck 50. Any move that he makes, she's somehow involved. And I don't
Very
think
true.
it's because of chance. I feel that if
Oh,
she
no.
wants to do her own, and then she's so quick to speak on women empowerment. But rest in peace to China. A lot of women's issue with China, even before she passed, they were saying that she was not one of the girls, she was one of the boys. She's one of the boys. And this whole Michelle McCool, I'm the man, I'm one of the guys type shit, that's cool. That's what's up. But what about women's stories? You want to be part of the diva era and being recognized for that? Why don't you have your own podcast when you talk about that? You don't want to do that because you know it's not going to get the same amount of views and interactions as it would as you sitting beside your damn husband.
I mean, who wants to? Do you want to listen to Michelle McCool talk
I
about how she
do.
wrestled Eve Torres? So
I
you
do.
would turn it. You would tune into that. You would. She doesn't even talk
I
about her own
do.
career when she's up.
I want to see her talk about what went on backstage in the women's locker. We don't know what your relationship like was with Tori. We don't know what your relationship like was with these women. We want to know that kind of shit. What kind of stories would y'all have? I've never heard anyone sit there and talk about road stories back in the early 2000s, late 90s, and how these women rolled during the Attitude Era or post. It's a million things I would love to hear, but we'll
I mean,
never
I don't.
get that because she's too busy riding her. And then she said, I'm not riding Undertaker's coattails. Yet everywhere he go, you follow. I see Snoop Dogg give him a death row chain and her. What the is she doing wearing girl? You one red hat
Okay.
away from wearing MAGA shit.
I mean,
Sorry.
she. I'm pretty sure she does. I mean, they are Republicans. They did have Trump on the podcast, but the thing is that she understands, and she doesn't care about the backlash. She's always gonna get the jobs because the legend of the Undertaker is going to give her a job. She got a chain because she's Undertaker's wife. I'm pretty sure Undertaker said Michelle wants a chain, Snoop, and he's like, for shizzle my nizzle, and he got one made for her.
Exactly. You know, it'd be really
Did she?
cool if you went ahead and got my wife a chain too, man. She really likes.
Exactly. He probably, yes, it's nepotism, and yes, it's
Thank you.
I
I
feel
said it.
like the
I said it.
it is, but the real backlash is it's nepotism to a person that no one likes in that role.
So it's not
It's not
the
just like
It's the choice of
It
who would
isn't
get
like who's getting it. Yes, it's not. If he would have said, "Hey, if he would have put any of his best friends, like I said, if they would have put Godfather, nobody would have thought second choice. Like, oh, cool, we're getting the BTK crew. You know, the ones that are alive, obviously. You
BSK.
know, they wouldn't have cared if BSK. You know, if it was BSK, they'd be cool. If it was Kane, if Paul Burr was still alive, they'd be like, oh, all right, that's fine. If it
I
was
would
even
love to
Bruce
hear. Oh
Pritchard,
yeah, definitely, definitely love that
yeah,
shit.
yeah, but nobody, and there would all be a nepo call. But it's someone that we just know is your wife. They don't have the dynamic, I don't think, as if we had a podcast with Bianca Belair and Montez Ford. That would be entertaining. People wouldn't be like, "Oh, he only on there because of Bianca." No, because we are invested in him as wrestling fans. No one, I'm not gonna say no one. The most popular wrestler in the Divas era is AJ Lee. She's obviously there. She's still making money. She's still wrestling. She's not really living off the back of CM Punk.
At
Michelle
all.
McCool was like, yeah, exactly, at all. Michelle McCool was like, oh, the lady that stole AJ Styles' finisher. She was physical. I'm not saying Michelle couldn't go in the ring. She was one of the best in the Divas era. But you also had you had Melina, but Melina was winding down by that time. You had Victoria, who went to TNA. Then you had Trish, who was also winding down. Lita, winding down. Everybody was winding down. They were ending their careers. All the women that we really want to talk to and get a podcast from, they were ending their careers. Michelle was beating up Layla, who was a tag team part of a majority of it, and Layla couldn't go. No one wanted to see Layla. Eve Torres wasn't killing it in the ring, you know. Candice Michelle wasn't killing it in the ring. She had a couple matches with Beth Phoenix, but she couldn't equal Beth Phoenix in the ring. She couldn't equal Natalia in the ring. They would have dog walked her just by skill, pure skill. Michelle McCool is only in the WWE because she is The Undertaker's wife. We know that. But the thing is, no one likes Michelle McCool. Like, they're like, ah, here comes this annoying woman. We'd rather just hear The Undertaker talk to the boys. So the backlash isn't the nepotism. It's the nepotism of the person that no one likes, man. That's how I view it. There's just no one likes Michelle. Michelle's not over, brother.
We all had a group of friends back in high school, and it reminds me of everyone got a girlfriend, all the couples, everybody knows each other. We all hang out, boom, in our circle. There was always that one girl that whenever the dudes were at the bar talking or whatever, there was that one girl that always around the niggas.
Yeah.
Always. And sometimes the girls will say, hey girl, why don't you come sit with us? Nah, I don't want to hang out with y'all. I don't know what y'all talk about. Have me another beer. Whatever. Like you one of the niggas for real. Like she wants to be one of the niggas.
She does. She does. The thing is that she's not. And I think that bothers her more so than anything else, is that she's not. She's not one of the boys. She's a wrestler, but she's not one of the boys. And she's nowhere. And I think just the dynamic is she's not over, and she takes over the podcast. I think that's the reason they changed the format again. When they stopped having guests and they're just talking about matches, they don't even talk about her matches. They talk about his matches, which makes her be there for no reason even more. You didn't know The Undertaker when he was 25. You were what? What was she, 15? No, she didn't know The Undertaker when she was 25. When he was 25 wrestling, when he first won his WWF championship from Hogan. She was a child. Just like I was, just like you were. She was a child. So
I'll
no,
get into
she
podcasting because I got a lot of questions that I want to ask because I'm a fan of this shit and I know the history behind it. Yeah, you were there for a lot of it, Michelle. You know your husband, but bruh, wrestling is bigger than that. What if you get a Spark Plug Holly? What if you get someone, Horse Gracie? What if you get someone like that? What kind of fucking questions you gonna ask? You keep your mans on the podcast. He gonna know all kinds of questions. Make you go, damn. He be asking questions where people go, damn, how did you know that? Scratch your head type stuff. That's what he be asking. You not gonna do that.
But he was a fan. He was a fan of he is. He's a fan of wrestling. He's a fan of mixed martial arts. Him and the Undertaker were friends because they have so much in common. And he's not only just a fan of the Undertaker, he's a fan of all the things the Undertaker loves and was involved in as well. So yes, he's the better host. Michelle's not a host. She's just a person that interrupts. But like I said, that's the reason that they changed the format to where they're just watching matches. They're not getting guests anymore. I don't think anyone wants to go on that podcast. The only podcast people want to go on, maybe Stephanie's and Cody's. That's it.
Just because you know how to cook It does not mean you can fucking farm.
That's true.
And to break it down, because I gotta hop off here and cook, and to break it down in the best way I can to all my brothers out there and sisters out there, you know what I'm saying, to all my old heads. A wise man once said, "Ain't nobody come see you, Otis."
Well, brother, all I gotta say is that is the fact. No one came to see Michelle McCool, and no one's continuing going to go see Michelle McCool. The podcast exists simply for the Undertaker. Whether it's 6 feet under with Mark Calloway or 6 feet under with the Undertaker, the podcast exists simply for the Undertaker, simply for stories about the Undertaker. Yes, like you said, I think a lot of people would want to hear what a bunch of divas would have, what
They
they went
would.
through, what their road stories were, and they would,
I would
and there'd
love
be a lot of
that. I
women,
would love
lot
that.
more women,
Yes, we need more. I would
but
love
I
to
don't
see
think it would.
more of that. But it wouldn't get nothing. Tara had her podcast with a few other people. I think it was Tara,
Yeah,
and I think it was some other
it
people.
was her,
And
Mickey. It
yeah,
was
it got no
it was her,
views.
Mickey. They still do it.
I know,
Well,
but it
I think the
nobody,
only
but
person left doing it is SoCal Val, but nobody watches it.
nobody watches it. But I watch
But
it. I mean, I'm not saying nobody. I mean, I
I
watch it,
watch it.
but I like it. I think it's dope. But to expect it to get the same amount of views as, hey y'all, Maven here.
Oh
No,
no. Okay, so let's also be honest. Maven's format is immaculate.
it
Maven's
is
voice, Maven's cadence, everything Maven does, Maven's the perfect professional wrestling podcaster other than Chris Van Vliet. But Chris Van Vliet isn't a wrestler. He's just over and he's a fan. That's the reason Van Vliet is the elite podcast, and right after him, it's Maven. You know, Maven has it. Everybody wants to talk to Maven. Maven's friendly. Maven's engaging. Michelle isn't those things. But I think Mickey James could if they just reformatted it for her and Victoria. If they changed it, it would be different. And so Cal Val, all of them. If it was different, if it was more so them interviewing guests in person in a studio or them traveling, but they don't want to travel no more. They traveled their entire wrestling career. They don't want to travel anymore. I think Mickey could do it because she could travel with the WWE. I would love to
Mickey would
see a
be great.
podcast with just,
If Mickey did that shit with Maven, if you gave Mickey James Maven's format, oh, that shit would be through the fucking roof.
yeah, Mickey James, Maven's format, her interviewing the girls and the guys of her own era. My God,
Yeah.
everybody would be on it. And it could
And
be
who would say
WWE
no to Mickey
produced if they wanted
James?
to.
Who would say no
I
to
don't
her?
know that
Who would
many
say
people. I don't I don't think anybody would say no to Mickey. Mickey is one of the best. I think everybody, obviously, she's one of the best performers. She was the diva that when people wanted to, whether it was in TNA and WWE, and just her personality is always the Southern Belle. She's wrestling Dolly Parton without the boobs.
right? Get those women in line, tell them to, hey girl, make sure you wear some pants. Pull your skirt up, girl. Have some respect. Don't be showing your bottoms like that. I hate to see that. That's right. She's a real classy lady, and she would never, ever wear something provocative to a wrestling ring or outside of it. Ever.
There's your sarcasm, sir.
What?
Everyone had Mickey crawl. Mickey crawled so these women could walk. Granted, all of them are naked now, but yeah, she crawled. Except Io Sky. Io Sky has clothes on, and Oscar. Everybody else is
Mickey
naked.
Mickey James had was one of the most underutilized, underrated talents. Period. And I feel
In
that her
professional
running
wrestling history.
TNA, yeah, her running TNA, even when she was WWE, when they put her shit in the fucking trash bag and disrespected her on LF. I mean, it's all kinds of stuff that, but she still come back. Told her that,
Well,
oh, you
maybe.
TNA champion? Yeah, you come to the ring, Royal Rumble. Yeah. Oh, leave your belt at home. What? Yeah, we don't want to see that shit.
Well, that whole thing is different now. They work with TNA. She's a TNA Hall of Famer. I believe she should be a WWE Hall of Famer. But hey, she should have went in before Michelle. But
No,
Nick
Michelle
Aldis wasn't
McCool
isn't a,
should have went in before her.
at all. You said at all. You don't think she should have went in at all?
No, I'm saying Michelle McCool should have went in before Mickey James.
Why? She did, but why? Why would Michelle? So you feel Michelle has greater? She's done more for the business than Mickey?
Michelle had to go through years of therapy because of the Mickey James skit that she did. She felt so victimized that it hurt her
How was
more
she?
than it hurt Mickey. And so for all that she had to go through mentally, emotionally, you know what I'm saying, and having to be stalked by the Undertaker, as she put it, you know, she's lucky that they didn't get sued. She was hurt.
having having to be stalked by the Undertaker. Now you're gonna
Yeah.
make Mark Calloway see. Mark Calloway. Granted, he married Sarah and his first wife, and then he just said, "I'm going to marry a woman that's in the business,
I
that's
married
younger than
Sarah
me."
too.
Hey,
Sarah was awesome. I love Sarah. She can wrestle. She can go. I wanted to see. Let's see what I think Sarah would have been on that podcast.
I think Sarah had more personality probably than
Yeah.
Michelle. Sarah looked angry. Sarah looked angry all the time, but I think she also ran the Undertaker. I think Undertaker just likes to be ran in his personal life, and that's fine. Happy wife, happy life. That is what they say.
Yes. So I'm gonna say this going away, that we do agree that nepotism does play a part. It just depends on who that nepo baby is, and it also depends on the
Yes,
era. The old era, we accepted it more. This new era, it's funny how this Gen Z era feels you have to earn it. Whatever. Of all, that's weird. Shout out to my Gen Zers out there, though.
I'm going to say this, and when it comes to nepotism, I feel Michelle is always going to get hated on, but so is Ava. But I like Ava more than I like Michelle, so it doesn't matter.
Facts.
I don't have anything else. If that's all you got, boss,
Yeah, I'm gonna start cooking, get my stuff ready for tomorrow. Happy holidays to you all. If you all are very fortunate enough to be able to sit down with the family or loved ones tomorrow, please count your blessings because there are a lot of people out there who don't have that. So please be safe out there
facts.
tomorrow. If you're going to eat everything. Get two plates, one for you and one for me.
Well, I'm pretty sure you're going to be putting down some plates, brother.
No,
All
no,
I have
no.
to
Save
say
a plate for
is,
me because I'm going over to your house and get that plate. So save me a plate. Yeah, 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 yeah. The plate collector. Yeah.
remember, you don't have to tap out after you eat too much tomorrow. You can always make it to the rope for a rope break. Peace.
Peace.